Hey everybody, we're gonna see if the fire stays, and it's colder out here than it has been. We're down to like 23, I think. So yeah, a little on the chilly side for us. But so I'm thinking today I'm gonna do a little update on how I'm doing, and then I wanted to talk about. Here we go again. And then I wanted to talk about that idea of wondering what it's like to have to have a tragedy happen in your life, and then kind of comparing that to actually having a tragedy. And it's something I used to think about a lot prior to Sarah dying, and not in relation to her at all, but just in general. This fire is gonna kill me. Alright. Being a little bit kinder today. So, update for today. Today's been pretty good. I, did some cooking with Rayla. And while she was at school, I did a lot of cleaning, and actually I dropped her off at school and went straight to the store to get, some groceries and stuff, just in case we get iced in over the next couple days. A little bit of ice, a little bit of snow, and this whole Pacific Northwest shuts down. So, come on now. You can do this, fire. So... yeah, so kind of got my stuff together and did that, and then today it feels different. I was looking for a word earlier before I started recording just to try and describe what I feel like today, and like numb was the first word that came to mind, but I don't feel numb. Numb just wasn't working for me because I feel a lot of things. And as I was dealing with the fire before I started recording, heavy. I feel heavy inside. Like my chest feels heavy. And it's not anxiety. It's not the anxious heavy. Just heavy. Like everything all at once, just kind of sitting there waiting to come out. And so, it's an interesting feeling. And like today, putting Rayla to bed just a little bit ago, singing all the songs, and I just extra songs and more songs, and just doing all the songs, and just like having that presence, that feel of Sarah. But it's just it's a weird feeling today, and it's not as easily identifiable. Harder to name, and so harder to tame. But it's just it makes you feel off, slightly out of control, and like I don't feel like crying. Maybe I feel a little angry. I feel like if I were to go out in the middle of the woods and just yell, just nothingness, just like I'd feel better. I don't know. I would love to have Sarah back, obviously. So I just feel like all the stuff is a lot. All the parenting, all the lifing, all of that stuff. Mixed with some of those feelings of inadequacy, whether you guys like that I feel that way or not. And that's with work, specifically with work. Not with my kids, not with family, not with my home life. I don't feel inadequate here. But there's just a lot of, not specifically feelings, just heavy. There's just a lot that feels like big weight. And so, kind of just coasting through the rest of the day. I think Braden and I are going to go watch a movie and hang out, so that'll be good. That's kind of my update for the day. So, you guys, if you appreciate this content, or just here for the ride, or, are connecting and trying to get through grief yourself, or just here for the community and the conversation, make sure you guys click that like button, hit subscribe. Push the notification bell. That way it tells you when we drop videos. And yeah, leave comments. Leave comments. I read them all. All right. 5 minutes in. Let's get to the actual topic now. So, all of my life, and I had a pretty good life. Like, we had our hardships. We weren't rich. We weren't well off. We were quite poor as a kid. And, you know, my brother, she's untied. My brother ended up getting into drugs. And so as a tween and teen, I was dealing with that. And so there was drama and there was hardship and stuff. But I wouldn't call any of that tragic. Some people may. We all deal with things differently. But, you know, my brother's still alive. He's in prison. Poor choices. Drugs and mental health, guys. Drugs and mental health. Like, my siblings are okay. My family's okay. Like, nobody that I've had a really, 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 really close relationship had died. And so, like, my life's been good. My life's really good. But I always wondered what would happen in a huge tragedy, whether that be like a zombie apocalypse or any other kind of apocalypse or war or just a massive disaster, like a natural disaster. And tragedy within that, in my brain, was my kids. Like, if something happened to my kids, like, how would I deal with that? And so I thought about that, and I never ever considered it being Sarah. Ever. Even once she had cancer, I never thought that my tragedy one day would be Sarah's death. I always knew, because it's just the way of things, that I would die first. And so I just always had that on my mind, and it wasn't like anything I dwelled on. I didn't really like, it would just be something, especially working in 911 and doing these, you know, everybody's always ready for an emergency. Your cars are ready, and you start to get into this mindset of, all right, if this bridge breaks down, how am I getting home to my kids? Or how am I going to get around the river? How am I going to get through the river? What am I going to do? And you go through lots of different scenarios, and so I thought about all of those things, and then I also started thinking about, like, the emotional side, like, what would that do to me? And what would, like, is there anything I can do to prepare myself for a tragedy? And you just, like, kind of mold these thoughts over from time to time, thinking about how I would handle it. And like I said, it wasn't anything that I would ever dwell on, but it was definitely some thoughts. And then when you see other people go through some of those tragedies, and you watch it, and you start to wonder, like, what would I do in that scenario? How would I handle that? And I don't know if this is something that other people do. But, like, I would kind of process through and kind of plan for different things, different scenarios, worst case scenarios, all that kind of stuff. All those tragedies that could happen. You know, I had considered multiple different routes to get home in an emergency, or and, like, how I would take care of Sarah if something happened to the kids and that kind of stuff. Like, really, like, I came up with ideas on how I would be busy and in a good way to help support the people, other people as well, that needed it. Maybe that's where I ended up, or why I ended up in the kind of position I did as the project manager as Sarah was dying. I don't know. Maybe because I had already had that mindset with previous thoughts of tragedy, right? But there is no amount of anything, of action, of practice, I don't think, that I could have ever done to prepare for an actual I'm going to kind of change the words here, emotional tragedy. I don't think I could have prepared in any way for one of my kids to die. And I'm damn certain now that I couldn't prepare for Sarah to die. I'm doing all the things and I'm working through all the griefs and all that stuff. And we had time to grieve prior to dying, the whole anticipatory grief, but there's no preparing, really. For me, I don't feel like I was in any way prepared. I know that there's people that were frustrated at me about how I dealt with Sarah's death, that I didn't do an obituary, that I didn't do a this, that I didn't do a that, right? So it's like everything. And so now we're talking about the actual actions, the actual act, and the actual, like, what was going on during the tragedy. My mind was broke, and I was doing all of it. I was doing all of the death stuff. Sarah did only so much. She got us up to her dying. But everything after that was on me, and maybe I don't remember because my brain was so messed up, but I didn't really have any help with the actual planning of anything after that. And mind you, I'm young for an old guy. I'm young. I've not done death. I've been to one funeral, and I watched one person in the last week of her life. Those were my two experiences with death, other than pets. I don't know. I didn't know what to do. So, like the rest of us out there that struggled through this for the first time with kids and family being project managed by us, I did it. Thankfully, the person at the funeral home was absolutely amazing, and she helped me through to make sure that the few things that Sarah and I talked about were done how Sarah wanted, and the rest of it I had to figure out. I like the obituary thing. It just, like, it makes me sad that we didn't do one, but at the same time, why did we need one? It's posted everywhere else in the world. It's on YouTube, it's on Facebook, everywhere that she knew, all the people that... It's just a weird thing. And, like, I'm not beating myself up. I'm not at all. I'm not. I am happy with everything I did. And under the circumstances and under the emotional stress that I was under and everything, I'm not beating myself up. I'm very proud. I guess that's really what I'm getting at, is regardless of how ridiculous some of the things I've been told are, I am very proud of everything I did. I am also very appreciative of the people that did step up and help. But the whole dying thing, I didn't have help with that. And it was scary, and it was fast, and it was hard, and it was lonely. And when it's your person, when it's your partner, when it's the person that would have helped you with everything, it's just that much heavier, that much harder, that much more difficult, that much more scary. So, going back to thinking about what tragedy is like versus going through tragedy itself, it's so different. We have media and movies and things that kind of make tragedy romantic or, dramatic or sometimes even exciting. It's not romantic. It's not exciting. At least this kind of tragedy wasn't. It's hard, it's scary, it's sad. And it's exhausting. And so far, it continues on. That tragedy is always part of me, and unlike when you are thinking about tragic scenarios, this one doesn't go away. Sometimes you have those crappy moments where you feel like it didn't happen, and I've learned that those only last no more than 3 minutes. Within 3 minutes, your brain comes right back. At least my brain comes right back and punches you in the face. Then it punches you in the gut. Then it punches you in the heart. And you realize that you're still in that tragedy. Time. Just waiting. Sitting and waiting and sitting. So for those of you guys that have wondered what tragedy is like, it's not going to hurt to keep wondering. It's not going to hurt to keep trying to understand. I think some of that helped me. But my experience, I've learned that there's no amount of preparation you can do for the death of somebody you deeply, deeply love. Fire decided to stay, so that's cool. All right, let's see. Memory time. I should create a little jingle. That's a good one. All right, going way back again. Sarah and I, as I mentioned, moved to Bellingham, where I worked, and she went to Western Washington University in the recreation program. And we had a one-bedroom apartment that we absolutely loved. And it had 2 posts, kind of like this one and the one behind. But the space was bigger. It was a pretty decent-sized patio. And Sarah always wanted a place that was kind of hers, but shared. Relaxing, comfortable, and a place where she could float, so to speak. And so we went to Lowe's. I remember what we need. Probably something for her plants. I think we brought maybe 2 plants with us. But we probably needed something like that. And it was summertime. Living was easy. And we were walking around in Lowe's, and she saw it. The one thing that she really wanted. Furniture-wise, apartment-wise, freedom. And we didn't have much money. And so it was a big, big purchase for us because we were poor. But she said she wanted it. And I made sure she got it because I knew the peace and joy it would bring her. And it was such a simple thing. It was a hammock. She wanted a hammock. And it was one of the kind of a similar material as this hammock is, but thicker. So the string was actually thicker. It's probably like a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch thick. It was pretty thick. That's about a 1/4 inch. And it was soft and comfortable, and it had the bars on each end, and so we put in some screws and put it up on our back deck. But her face as we left Lowe's, oh my God, it was like the happiest and proudest moment early on. Like, just I'm adulting, and I am making the space mine, and I have this special place, this special space where she can go out and just relax and float. And it could fit 2 people, so we could float together, and it was absolutely amazing. But the joy. Such simplicity brought her. It's just beautiful and amazing. Wonderful. Now I'm just staring at this hammock. All right. Movie time. So I'm going to go in with Braden, watch movie, hang out, and I'll probably see you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful day, morning, night, wherever you are. Remember, be kind, make good choices. Bye.